The morning the hammer was gone, the story begins quietly. Thor wakes up, reaches from Mjölnir, and it is not there. It has not been moved. It has not fallen. It has not been misplaced. It is gone. In Norse mythology, very few beings are capable of stealing the hammer. Fewer still would dare, which means the theft itself is a message. Someone is testing the limits of the system. Someone is asking a dangerous question. What happens if the rules no longer hold? Thor does not rage immediately, because this is not a problem rage can solve. Instead, he goes to the one figure in Asgard who understands disruption better than anyone else. Loki. It is important to say this clearly. Loki did not steal the hammer. This is not one of his tricks. But Loki's role in Norse mythology is not to cause chaos for fun. His role is to expose fragile systems. And this system is very fragile. Through investigation, Loki uncovers the truth. The hammer has been taken by the king of the frost giants, Grimar, and Kryma's demand is simple. He will return Mjölnir. Only if the goddess Freya is given to him as a bride. Freya is not chosen out of affection. This is not romance. In Norse culture, marriage represents alliance, transfer of status, recognition of equality. If Freya were handed over, it would signal something irreversible, that the giants are no longer outside the order. They would be within it. This is extortion, not courtship. And Freya's response makes that clear. She refuses, violently. The gods now face an impossible dilemma. Without Mjölnir, the world is exposed. With Freya sacrificed, the order becomes meaningless. There is no good option. And Norse mythology does not invent one. The solution comes from Loki. It is not noble. It is not honorable. But it will work. Thor will go to the giant's realm, disguised as Freya, and retrieve the hammer himself. This is the moment where many modern retellings turn the story into comedy. But in its original context, this moment is not funny. It is humiliation. Thor is the embodiment of masculine strength, of open confrontation, of physical dominance. And now, to save the world, he must surrender that image completely. This is not about gender. It is about role reversal. The enforcer must become the offering. Thor does not agree because he is convinced. He agrees because the alternative is worse. This is one of the most important themes in Norse mythology. Duty does not ask whether you are comfortable. It only asks whether you are necessary. Thor understands what will happen if he refuses. The giants will push further. Boundaries will erode. The system will fail slowly, and then all at once. So he agrees. Not proudly, not willingly, but decisively. The giant's realm is not evil. It is uncontrolled. It represents raw force without restraint, appetite without limit, power without responsibility. When Thor enters this world disguised as a bride, the imbalance is immediate. The protector of order is now powerless by design. He must be passive, observed, judged. This is more unbearable to him than combat. The wedding feast is where the tension peaks. Thor eats, and eats, an entire ox, eats salmon, vast quantities of food and drink. The giants grow suspicious. This is not how a bride behaves. Loki intervenes instantly. He explains that Freya has not eaten for days out of anticipation. The lie is absurd, but absurdity is often accepted when people want something badly enough. One thing cannot be disguised. Thor has eyes. They are not soft. They are not submissive. They are the eyes of someone who is waiting. Again, Loki explains it away. Love, excitement, sleeplessness. Every excuse holds, just long enough, because the giants are eager to complete the ritual. And that ritual requires one final step. As part of the ceremony, Mjölnir must be placed on the bride's lap to bless the marriage. This is the moment the giants lose. Because the instant Thor touches the hammer, the system reasserts itself. The disguise ends. The balance snaps back into place. Thor reveals himself. And what follows is not mercy. It is correction. The moment Mjölnir is placed on Thor's lap, the balance shifts. There is no dramatic pause, no speech, no warning. The disguise is no longer necessary. Thor grips the hammer, and with that single act, the power dynamic of the entire room collapses. This is not a transformation scene. Thor does not become something new. He simply returns to what he already was. The protector, the boundary, the force that exists to stop things from going too far. The giants realize their mistake too late. What follows is fast, violent, and final. Thor rises. The hammer moves. The giants fall. There is no bargaining, no attempt to explain, no moment where the story slows down to ask whether this is justified. Because in Norse mythology, this moment is not about emotion. It is about containment. Rumor is killed. So are those around him. Not because Thor is angry, but because the attempt to extort the gods cannot be allowed to succeed. This is one of the hardest ideas in Norse mythology for modern audiences to accept. Some actions are not punished out of vengeance, but erased to prevent repetition. If the giants had survived, the lesson would remain, and the lesson would be dangerous. From a modern moral perspective, this ending feels extreme. Why not retreat once the hammer is recovered? Why not spare those who were deceived? The Norse answer is brutally clear. Because power tests systems, and systems that survive tests to gently invite the next one. This story is not about good versus evil. It is about deterrence. The giants tried to change the rules of the world through leverage instead of force. That makes them more dangerous, not less. Thor's response restores a truth the Norse believe deeply. Order only holds when violations carry irreversible consequences. After the slaughter, the story does not linger. There is no victory feast, no praise from the gods, no moment of relief. Thor returns to Asgard with Mjölnir. The hammer is back where it belongs. And that is all. No one thanks him for what he endured. No one speaks of the humiliation. No one jokes about the disguise. Because this was never meant to be a funny story. It was meant to be a necessary one. Thor succeeded. The world is safe. The order is restored. But something else has happened. Thor has learned, and so have the gods, that even the strongest protector can be made vulnerable. Not through force, but through circumstance. This is crucial. Thor was not defeated in battle. He was cornered by reality. And the Norse understood this well. Strength does not guarantee dignity. Duty does not promise comfort. Sometimes the cost of protection is silence.